Hello, and welcome to Your Health, a podcast from the Hoosier Ag Today presents your Purdue Extension Podcast Network. It's brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau, a unified voice for agriculture. I'm your host, Greg Allen, and today, we all know getting enough sleep makes us feel better the next day, but did you know it can also affect your heart, your mood, your immune system, and even your brain health as you age? We'll get into it next, right here on Your Health.
At Indiana Farm Bureau, we serve tree farmers, goat farmers, and in fact, all farmers. With over 250,000 members, Indiana Farm Bureau represents a broad range of farmers and puts power in your collective voice. You also get advice from our subject matter experts, more affordable health plan options, and support for youth programs statewide. So whether you grow soybeans or strawberries, membership means you'll be heard. Become a member today at infb.org.
Today, we're talking about Purdue Extension's Sleep On It, Why Sleep Matters educational program. We'll explore why quality sleep is much more than just getting enough hours, how it may reduce your risk of chronic disease and dementia, and simple strategies you can start using tonight to improve your sleep. Joining us is Joe Gilreath, a Health and Human Sciences Regional Educator from Purdue Extension. Thanks for being here, Joe.
Sure, thanks for the invitation.
You know, to begin, how did the educational program Sleep On It, Why Sleep Matters, how did it come to be?
Sure. Well, pretty basic. Like if I was to ask you, how did you sleep last night, Greg? You may say, I had some difficulties. And we were hearing from our community members increase in difficulty sleeping, wondering what may be factoring into that. They were looking for tips and reliable information that might help them approach their sleep. And so we, of course, gathered some reliable information, put it in a pretty easy format for people to wrap their head around. And it is really all about healthy lifestyle choices and behaviors that we're making throughout our day, up until the time we sleep and throughout the night.
You know, when my wife and I get a good night's sleep, we call it sweet sleep.
Got some
sweet
yes.
sleep last night. But not last night. Last night was not a sweet sleep night.
Yeah. And when you have this sweet sleep, you want to think, hey, what did I do yesterday, last evening?
Recreate that.
Yes, what was happening in the environment. And then when it's not sweet sleep, you got to ask the same questions because, as you know, and we all know, every night is different. So we just want to try to keep improving and making our nights a little bit better, or to have more of those sweet sleeps.
Absolutely. It seems like having sweet sleeps has become kind of trendy. Why has sleep become such an important public health topic? It seems like just in the last recent years.
Yeah. So what I have experienced as an educator is it really is being driven by the research and the science behind the long-term health effects that sleep have on individuals. So we all want to prevent diseases like heart disease, cancer, stroke, obesity, depression, anxiety, and now dementias. And so the research is now including quality sleep as one of the factors that influence our risk for those health conditions. And the American Heart Association now has quality sleep on their Essential 8 wellness tips. The Alzheimer's Association recently came out with their 10 tips for brain healthy habits if you are interested in preventing a dementia or slowing down the progression of one. The Institute on Aging has always said that good sleep is important for our general health, physical and mental. So I think people now are hearing the validity of that. Like, I don't think sleep always got the credit and the respect that it deserves. And we were putting other things in front of it. And now the pendulum has kind of swung, and they're saying you need to start with good quality sleep.
Joe, tell us what happens in our bodies, in our brains while we're sleeping.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, Greg, I'm not a medical person, so I'm going to give you kind of the layman terms.
That's
And
what I
our
want.
Yeah, and our nice little single session program that goes over the facts focuses on the importance of knowing that a lot is happening while we are sleeping, and our body needs to cycle through several different stages of sleep throughout our whatever 7, 8, 9 hours in bed. And it's not about the number of hours, it's about that cycling through the sleep cycles. And our brain is still active, our body is resting, recuperating, detoxing, actually, and restoring to get us ready for the next day. So a lot is happening. We just aren't conscious of it. We just think, am I rested? We may not be aware of all that was really happening.
That's interesting because I know when I have a long week, I think to myself, I think I can catch up on my sleep over the weekend. But that's not really how it works, is it?
No, unfortunately. And I don't know, maybe we kind of could do that when we were in high school and college years, but the
Not anymore.
science will tell you that there's no sleep bank. You cannot bank up your sleep, get extra, and then go without later. And it's one of we like to call in our educational program the 5 easy tips for sleep quality. And one of them is your everyday routine, which means we get up and we go to bed at primarily the same time. And we keep that even on our quote weekends or our days off or our vacations. And that routine is important for our circadian rhythms, but also to be giving our body that time necessary to go through those cycles during the night. You could maybe they do recommend if you had a really bad night or work life kept you up a lot, you could take a short nap the next day, but they don't want it too late and they don't want it too long. So the recommendation is 20 to 30 minutes max because we
Really?
don't want you getting into that deep sleep
Yeah.
phase
Yeah.
because that will throw off your whole cycling.
I call that a power nap.
Yeah. And the other thing that will probably give you just as much effect is to go for a walk, get out in nature, do some physical activity, have a healthy snack, the movement, the healthy eating, those kinds of things can also help counterbalance if we're a little sluggish from not getting the quality sleep the night before.
Let's talk about some of the more extreme things that sleep plays a role in. Can a person take steps to lower the risk for dementia?
Well, that is one of the things the research is now saying. So, the long term effects of that poor sleep are now being connected to cognitive decline and possibly dementia. So, the Alzheimer's Association recently issued some programming and some materials based on the recent US Pointer study that came out and showing that we can lower our risk by having a variety of healthy lifestyle behaviors in place. And sleep is one of them. So we can't ignore all the other ones. We still got to get some good physical activity, eat healthy. We need to protect our head, not have brain injuries. We need to maintain a healthy weight. We need to monitor any health conditions that we have. We need to stay socially connected and things like that. But sleep is on there. And what we do find is all those other healthy behaviors that we do influence our sleep, and our sleep influences them also. So it's kind of like we got to do it all.
I think generally all of us have heard, got to get that 8 hours of sleep. Is that standard time? Does it change through ages, like children, teenagers, adults, older
Yeah.
adults?
Yeah. So it will show the younger children need more sleep developmentally, and a lot is happening to them in their development. And then even during the teenage years, they're still doing that, so they do need a little more sleep. The average adult, the recommendation is 7 to 9 hours. There are some unique genetically, I guess, programmed people that do operate fine on 5 to 6 hours of sleep. So the recommendation 7 to 9 applies. And as we age, older people still need the sleep, but they might need it in different parameters. Like they might not get as much sleep overnight because of multiple awakenings. And so then they would do the napping the next day. But listen to your body, right? Like, do you feel good? Do you feel rested when you wake up? If you're having any symptoms like fatigue, confusion, brain fog, off balance, that's an indication that maybe you didn't get the right amount of sleep that you needed.
What are some of the most common reasons that people struggle to get that quality sweet sleep?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, in talking to community members when we're doing our programs, usually they'll just say disruptions. So that can be in the household, it can be kids, it can be pets. We hear a lot about, I just don't have enough time in the day. And yes, I intended to go to bed at 10 o'clock, but then I needed to do these things to get ready for tomorrow. So time is often the top barrier. I almost said excuse, but it's a barrier. And so we have to be honest with ourselves and say, okay, what is it that is interfering in my sleep? Sometimes it's motivation or laziness. Sometimes it's the distractions or our schedule. Maybe we're traveling and we have other responsibilities. Maybe we ate a bad meal. We didn't follow the food safety that you guys talked about on another podcast. We were up. So there's lots of different excuses. So people need to find out what is their barriers and then what can they change to work on that. And it's not easy. And I want to acknowledge that, Greg. And for anybody listening, it's not as simple as, I just need to turn off all my lights and put the fan on and put my sleep mask on. It can be more complicated than that, but we have to try. It's kind of trial and error.
Joe, this is fascinating stuff. We do have to take a quick break, though. Or as you might call it, a small nap. But when we come back from our small nap, we're going to talk with Joe about what steps that you can take today to get better sleep, get those sweet sleeps tonight. So stay tuned.
Did you know you and your family may qualify for free or low-cost health coverage? The Indiana Healthy Families Alliance, a program of the Indiana Rural Health Association, offers a team of trained health insurance navigators who are available to assist you for free to assess your eligibility and help you apply and enroll. To learn more, visit indianaruralhealth.org/IHFA.
Starting conversations about mental health with family and with farmers is very difficult because it's not a subject that's always been a part of normal conversation. Really just opening a conversation or checking in with someone saying, hey, how's it going? How are you doing really? What are you feeling? Are you feeling overwhelmed? What are some ways that I can help take some of the stress off of you? But there are always ways that you can help. Just providing a little bit of extra support, because many times we see families that tend to struggle with keeping up with everything that's happening. Reach out and make sure that everything that family feels supported. That's a major way that people can help a farm family during busy seasons.
Farmer suicide rates are significantly higher than the general population. That's why Purdue Extension offers the Purdue Farms Trust Team to offer help when it's needed most.
And we're back to Your Health, talking today to HHS Regional Educator Jill Gilreath. Jill, what is your biggest challenge in sleeping well?
Me personally, Greg, you're going to get personal
Yeah.
on me? Yeah. Well, right now in my phase of life, like it used to be children waking up. Now it is my animals, actually, disrupting
I feel that.
dynamics with them. And my cat will not let the door stay closed, so it has to be open. And then I hear another animal that goes in and out. I hear a family member who has a different work schedule, life schedule, and I hear noises. So right now it's kind of like managing the behavior of the pets in my home and seeing what I can possibly do differently. I even recently looked at some YouTube videos about cats and understanding why they do the behaviors they do. But also there are some strategies and some things I can implement to maybe nip that in the bud a little bit. The other one is...
Let's talk about those effective sleep strategies. But what you were going to say, there's something else?
And then the other one, maybe people who don't have animals can relate to, is one of my challenges is getting up several times to have to use the restroom. I do like to drink a lot of water. It's really hot right now, so I hydrate a lot, very important. But if I don't do my timing right, then maybe I wake up a couple times and gotta go use the restroom. But everyone's an individual on what their challenges are.
Yeah, I know my wife and I, we have two little rat terriers, and they sleep right between us every night. And it seems like every time they hear any kind of noise, they're just jumping up and barking and waking us up and that sort of thing. I tell you one thing that, and let's talk about effective sleep strategies. This is one that worked for us. We bought a sound machine, and at first it was so loud and obtrusive, and I hated it. Now I can't sleep without it, and the dogs don't hear a thing. It's fantastic.
Nice. Yes, that's a good one. So that would fall under the category. There's kind of like 5 categories: your everyday routine, your electronics, your environment, your exercise, and your eating healthy. So that everyday routine, going to bed, waking up, same time, but it's more than that. It's like having a routine. Like, what are you doing the 30 to 60 minutes before you get in bed? And programming your body that we do this. I do the same thing every evening, and I'm getting myself ready for sleep. The electronics, it is recommended that you not fall asleep in front of the TV. It's recommended that you limit use of electronics up to about an hour before, if possible. If you do read on a tablet, have one with the blue light. And if you can just go back to old paper books, right, regular paper books, that's helpful. And even electronics that emit light, we want to diminish that. So turn your alarm clock the other way. They say we should not have our phone in our room. If you do, then have it dimmed or turned over so you're not getting that light. And of course, in your environment, things like the temperature as cool as possible, the light, blackout blinds, a sleep mask, the white noise machines. I was recently helping babysit a new grandchild, and they have all kind of gadgets now. And they had this little one. It's called the Shusher. And after listening to the Shusher for 2 days for the baby, to get the baby to sleep, I'm like, I think I need a Shusher, probably like what you have. But you could get one of these little ones, Greg, and you could take it if you have to travel or visit someone else's home. And that would be a way to help support the environment that you're sleeping in. Eating healthy, not having big, greasy, heavy meals, getting that exercise. And I like to use the word movement. So physical activity and movement during the day, no extreme exercising a couple hours before you go to bed, because that's going to jack up your endorphins and your metabolism. But the exercise that you do in the earlier part of the day is actually going to influence your night. And last night I had a good night's sleep, and I attributed it today when I was re-examining. I got some good exercise yesterday, but I took a warm bath before I went to bed, which is odd because it's 95 degrees where I am. But I took a tepid bath, and it allowed my muscles to relax and listen to some soothing music. And I think it made me sleep, get some of that smart sleep, sweet sleep.
I love it. Let's talk about the opposite end of that. Are there common habits that people don't realize that are hurting their sleep? Like you mentioned screen time. What about like caffeine or alcohol? I mean, is that one? Irregular schedules?
I mean, alcohol does have an influence on our sleep, and often people misunderstand because they think it makes them sleepy, but it disrupts. What it's technically doing is it's disrupting those sleep cycles that you go through, and it disrupts your heart rate variability. And if anybody has any of the trackers that are on the market now or the smart watches, you can track those kinds of things and pay attention to what your numbers were after you maybe had an alcoholic drink or not. And same thing with exercise, and you can see how that is influencing those sleep cycles. You know, I think maybe people don't give enough credit. They don't think enough about the disruptions, like with the pets and maybe with children, and how they can make some changes to that. And then the caffeine, often we know, oh, I'm not going to drink coffee after 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. What we may not know is if people aren't reading their food labels, there is caffeine in more beverages and snack food products now. I just got a drink the other day. I'm like, I want something non-alcoholic. I want something refreshing. And I read the label, just not carefully enough. And I read it again later, and teeny tiny print, caffeine. I did not know it had caffeine in it. So if I had had that later in the afternoon, that would have disrupted my sleep because I'm that sensitive. But so read your labels. Definitely read your labels on your food and your beverages.
Let's talk about things that we can't control. Let's say if somebody has tried improving their sleep, but they still feel exhausted, is there a point where they should seek out a healthcare provider about what's going on?
Sure. Well, of course. So I think when you know your body and you know something's not right, or you're making some changes, you're trying some things, and you're not getting the results or the success that you are looking for, you definitely want to talk to a healthcare provider. And often people will say, well, I have some sleep issues, but I don't have sleep apnea, or I don't have restless leg syndrome. They're thinking of these like big sleep disorders. Yes, those should be ruled out. But there's other things that can be going on that affect our sleep. And it goes back to the long-term effects and the other health conditions. Metabolic and autoimmune health conditions factor into our sleep. So you could go to your doctor and ask to be worked up for prediabetes, for diabetes. That's a metabolic condition. You could be looking at autoimmune disorders, things like joint pain and arthritis. Those can influence our sleep. And our mental health conditions. We might have some anxiety or a depression going on. So by all means, seek out appropriate healthcare providers and let them know. I am not sleeping well. Something's going on with my body physiologically. I want to rule out some things, or I want to get some more information, along with trying the steps for supporting the sleep that you can control.
The Sleep On It program, what counties Is it in every county? How can listeners find out more
Sure.
information about this?
So, because there's 92 counties in Indiana, I can't tell you exactly which ones it's in. It is available to all the Purdue Extension educators. And so if someone is just interested in the information or attending a program, they just need to contact their local extension office. And, we do some programming now virtually, so it doesn't matter where you live. We also have some people that need some modifications, or maybe they can't attend the programs, and we are happy to send them our handouts that we have and our information in a format that they can use. And we also will always answer questions that people have about if they're looking for more reliable information, what are good resources. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of really good information, and there's a lot of information that is maybe skewed a little bit, or they have a different agenda. So it's one of the great things about the Health and Human Sciences part of Purdue Extension. We are selling information, reliable information. So
Joe, this has been so incredibly helpful to, I know, a lot of people that will be watching this, listening to this. Is there anything that we haven't discussed that you wanted to get across today?
I think if anybody starts to feel overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, what do I have to do now? We hear about, I have to do this to prevent heart disease, or I have to do this to prevent cancer. I have to do this to prevent dementia. I have to do this, whatever. I want you to step back and think about, what are your healthy lifestyle behaviors and choices that you are making throughout your day? And as we get zeroed in on those, it simplifies it a little bit, and it makes it less complicating. So, what healthy lifestyle behaviors and choices are you making? Which ones do you know are good for you? And keep doing those. Find a way to do more. Which ones do you know are bad for you? And how can you reduce doing those, right? And sometimes we have to be honest and ask ourselves, why am I, not doing the things that I know are good for me? But focusing on that healthy lifestyle choices and behaviors that you have control over are usually my words of wisdom.
I love it. Joe, thank you so much, and I wish you nothing but sweet sleeps.
Okay. See you later, Greg.
Go take a nap.
Go take a nap. 20 minutes.
Sleep is something that we all do, but it's easy to overlook just how important it is to our overall health. As we've learned today, making sleep a priority can improve everything from daily energy and mental focus to long-term brain health. A big thank you to Joe Gilreath for sharing these helpful insights about Purdue Extension's Sleep On It, Why Sleep Matters program. If you'd like to learn more about sleep health or discover wellness programs offered through Purdue Extension's Health and Human Sciences educators, contact your local Purdue Extension office. And thank you for tuning in to Your Health, a podcast from the Hoosier Act Today presents Your Purdue Extension Podcast Network. It's brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau, a unified voice for agriculture. I'm your host, Greg Allen, and we'll see you next time as we continue exploring practical ways to help you live well every day.